Hello Booktube, welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth and this is going to be a book haul video. Now I have been doing some book shopping. In my last haul video I believe I showed you the books I bought on vacation in mid-August. So I've done quite a bit more book shopping from the latter part of August all through September, and enough so that I went ahead and divided it up into genres again. So for this video I'm going to mainly show you the women's fiction that I got, but since I also got just a tiny bit of nonfiction, I'm going to throw that in right at the beginning, and then one other non-book item that I picked up at a thrift store that you might be interested in. Quickly, let me show you the nonfiction. I just bought this the other day from a coworker. This is her first book, and this is memoirs of her life growing up in Maine, and it's called My Life as a Maniac by Patty Adams. It's just a tiny little book, but she was telling us about it at work and it just sounded so cute that I thought I would pick it up. And since I have an ongoing series of book reviews written by people that I know, I thought I would get her book and read it so that I can tell you about it. It is available on Amazon, I understand, in paperback form only. So as soon as I read it, I will do a review of it and let you know what I thought. I had a lot of fun book shopping this month. Several came from a fill-a-bag sale. I spent one whole Saturday in Orlando and then north of Orlando in a town called Castleberry because Shay from They Call Me Shay-Shay Girl told me about her library and a bookstore nearby. So I took one Saturday and went book shopping and found several books that I have been looking for that were literally on my list, and I was so excited. So several of those are going to be in this haul. Now this haul, as I said, is mostly going to be women's fiction, but a couple of things I picked up at the Fill-A-Bag library sale. Now when you're at a Fill-A-Bag library sale, if it's anywhere from $2 to $5 and you've already found a few books that you want, you know you're getting your money's worth. So when you find other items that you wouldn't necessarily buy individually otherwise, but you find them interesting, why not put them in your bag? Because it's basically free at that point. So that's what these are. Things that I wouldn't have bought individually, but they were basically free. This is put out by the MOPS group. It's called Mom to Mom, Confessions of a Mother Inferior, and it's by Elisa Morgan. And then this is just kind of a little mini magazine called Organizing Good Things by Martha Stewart. One other nonfiction book I picked up to give my sister, the Classic American Quilt Collection, and the patterns in here are log cabin patterns. Another nonfiction book I picked up for my husband, this is The Swamp, The Everglades, Florida, and the Politics of Paradise by Michael Grunwald. I want to show you one other item that I found at a thrift store that's not a book, and I especially want to show this to Carm, who is one of my newer subscribers. He belongs to the vinyl community, and so I thought he might be interested to see that I picked up a record album this month. This is Then and Now, The Best of the Monkees. Now, my sister is really more from the Monkees generation. She was a big Monkees fan and had a few LPs that I used to listen to after she had already gone on to college and left them behind, and so she eventually gave them to me. I moved them to Florida. Always enjoyed their music. In fact, I helped to spread a petition drive when I was in college to bring them to Oklahoma City on their reunion tour, and took around that petition, and they did end up coming to Oklahoma City, and so myself and a few of my friends went to the concert, and it was wonderful. So after my sister gave me her albums a few years ago, she decided she wanted them back, and that was totally fine. I took them to her a couple of years ago, and so I saw this in a thrift store. This is not one of the ones that she had, but this is a best of album, so it's got several of the songs on it that I really enjoy, and I decided just to go ahead and pick it up. I think it was 50 cents or $1, and so I am happy to have now a Monkees album of my own. Now I do have a couple of CDs of the Monkees, but it's always fun to have one in its original vinyl form. Alright, so now on with the women's fiction, which is the majority of this haul. Now I don't remember which of these came from Fill-A-Bag and which ones I paid for individually, and it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to show you what I got. This one I thought looked really fun. Kissing Babies at the Piggly Wiggly by Robert Dalby. One of the books I was most excited to get, finally, is a hardback copy in beautiful condition of my second favorite Fannie Flagg book, which is Can't Wait to Get to Heaven. I have this book in paperback. In fact, when I find it in paperback, I usually get it so that I can pass it on to other people because, as I said, this is one of my favorite Fannie Flagg books. But this one is for me to keep on my shelf to go with my Fannie Flagg collection. I found an Ann Brasher's book that I hadn't heard of. I don't think this is part of the Traveling Pants series. It's called The Here and Now. If you watch my September wrap-up and my October TBR, I mentioned that I'm planning to read Wedding Ring by Emily Richards. This is book 1 of the Shenandoah album series. I got interested in this series because I found book 5 at a book sale several months ago, and ever since then I've been looking for more books from this series in hardback, and they've been really hard to find. But this month I hit pay dirt. I found book 1, and I think it was only $1. I found another book from the same series called Touching Stars. Then I found another Emily Richards hardback. That's not from this series, but I went ahead and picked it up. I think this is from the Whiskey Island series called The Parting Glass. I didn't set out to collect the Miss Julia series for myself because I've already read most of them, but lately they just keep coming into my path. So when I find them at a good deal, I've been picking them up because it is one of my favorite series, and so I thought, why not just go ahead and have them on my shelf so that I can pick them up anytime I want a good laugh. Now this one I actually haven't read, and I was planning to read it in September and I didn't get to it, so I do plan to get to it as soon as I can. This is Miss Julia's Marvelous Makeover, and again, the Miss Julia series is by Ann B. Ross. I also got Miss Julia Strikes Back, Miss Julia Meets Her Match, and Miss Julia's School of Beauty. This is a book I've had before, and I gave it to my mother-in-law because I wanted her to read it. This is book 1 in the Cobbled Court Quilt series by Marie Bostwick. I thought I'd just go ahead and pick it up since I've already read book 1, but if I'm going to have the rest of the series, I may as well have book 1 to add to my collection. This book I first saw at Goodwill, and I didn't pick it up, but I put it on my TBR, and then I found it again a little cheaper at a thrift store, and I decided to go ahead and pick it up. It's The Kitchen House by Kathleen Grissom. It's the story about a young Irish girl who is working as an indentured servant on a plantation next to the black slaves, and so I think this makes for an interesting dynamic. The premise sounds really good, and so I'm interested to read it. I found this at a thrift store, I believe, and this is What Alice Forgot by Leanne Moriarty. We're going to be reading this for book club in November, so I thought I would go ahead and have my own copy. A few vintage books I found at a library book sale. These are all by Miss Reed, and they are from the Fair Acres series. These are old editions from the 70s. The artwork on the covers is really neat. This one is called Emily Davis, and it's book 8. This one is called Village Affairs, and it's book 13. This one is called Over the Gate, and it's book 5. Alright, a few mass market paperbacks that I found. I got a Marie Bostwick book that I don't have. This is Between Heaven and Texas. This, I believe, is the one my sister is really wanting me to read as soon as I can, and I was disappointed not to find it in trade paperback. Almost all my other Marie Bostwick books are in trade paperback, so this one's not going to match. But I hadn't seen it anywhere else, and it's in almost new condition, so I decided to go ahead and get it. I found a couple more Emily Richards books in paperback. This is Happiness Key. This is the first book in a trilogy set in Florida. This book is called The Christmas Wedding Quilt, and it consists of 3 short stories. The first one is called Let It Snow, and it's by Emily Richards. The next one is You Better Watch Out by Janice K. Johnson. And then 9 Ladies Dancing is by Sarah Mayberry. So this will be a good holiday read. I picked up a Laverell Spencer book. I haven't read anything by her, but my mother used to read Laverell Spencer, and my mother never steered me wrong in literature. So far, everything I've read that she's recommended has been really good and really enjoyable. So I figured I would probably like this as well. I picked up It Had to Be You by Jill Shalvis. This is part of the Lucky Harbor series. I have not read any of these yet, but every once in a while when I find one, I've been buying it because I've heard Jill Shalvis highly recommended by a couple of booktubers that I really enjoy. So I'm hoping that I will enjoy these books. So that's it for my women's fiction and a few non-fiction books. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I've divided my book hauls for this month into several different genres. So I have several more book hauls this month. Be sure to check my channel for those. And that's all I have for this video. Hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.